My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Climate Change and Energy, Senator Wong. The Australian Energy Market Operator's 2023 Inputs, Assumptions and Scenarios report shows that your government's energy transition plan will run new, massive transmission lines through prime agricultural land and national parks, with costly, unreliable wind and solar projects planned for an area covering up to a third of Queensland. Why has your government failed to properly inform and consult with the affected communities and landowners about the impact and risk to their loss of livelihoods and land rights?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. Thank you to Senator Hanson for
order.
Thank you to Senator Hanson for the question. And first, it is true that there is a very, very big change in Australia's energy system that is required, not just to deal with the transition to 2050, but to ensure that Australians have access to the cheapest form of new energy, which is renewables. And it is true that our transmission system is very much predicated on what we've had for the last 50 years, which is large coal-fired power stations closer to urban areas, or able to service large urban areas with the transmission system we have. So there is a big change. In relation to consultation, I think I've been asked about this before, and I'll see if, while I'm on my feet, someone can find some additional information for you. I do understand. Well, I'm very upfront about this, Senator Cash. Thank you. There you go. What I would say is it is important that social licence for this change continues to be sought, and this change does require engagement. And I respect the fact that there are communities and landowners who are supportive, and also there are landowners and communities who are not. And there is also the importance of engaging with First Nations leaders as well. So what I would say to you is there is consultation that is happening. I accept that this is something that requires ongoing discussion.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering has expired. Senator Hanson, first supplementary.
Minister, what feasibility studies have been done with regards to the impact on communities, landowners and the agricultural sector and the environment, flora and fauna?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Wong.
The first approvals in relation to environmental requirements, which are some of the things that you've referred to, would continue to be required under relevant state and federal legislation. I'll confirm if my answer is not correct, Senator Hanson, but that's my understanding, is that you still have the regulatory framework in relation to environmental approvals. The social licence question, I think, is a different question. I can say to you that in the last budget the government invested about $20 million in 3 different initiatives. One, strengthening the governance of the Energy Infrastructure Commissioner to enhance its independence, its ability to address misinformation, support First Nations peoples and improve complaint resolution. Secondly, working with a diverse range of stakeholders on the introduction of a developer rating scheme to encourage best practice and to foster transparency and trust, and exploring options for better delivering benefits to the region.
Senator Hanson, second supplementary.
It was about the feasibility studies, but my other question is, will native title holders be treated the same as non-Indigenous Australians with respect to compensation, legal funding or denial of access to their property in the construction of solar panels, wind farms and transmission lines?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Wong. Senator Thorpe, silence.
Senator, whether it's in relation to these projects or any other projects, whatever arrangements are in place under state territory or federal legislation for engagement with First Nations communities and native title holders remain. There is, I think, a separate issue about which you have been advocating for, which is ensuring that regional communities in the Broad are consulted about what is occurring in their communities and also gain the benefits. And the last point I was going to make was one of the measures that is being looked at by the government is whether or not you could deliver direct bill relief and additional benefits in regions most affected by renewable energy developments. In other words, can you provide some economic benefit, some way of demonstrating the economic benefit these communities are providing to the country in the region itself. And these are all matters the government is very serious.
The time for answering has expired.